My girl. Okay, she blinked. She's still alive. Okay, good. Anyway, girl, gotta come pet my dog before we get into this. Gotta feed my cat. My poor cat's only 20 some odd pounds. Look at the mess he makes, eh? Oh my god, the other cat. The other cat barely eats it. Like, that's probably getting like 2 or 3 days old. And then my dog. Gotta pet the dog. Poor girl. Took her to the vet yesterday. She wasn't very happy about that. She had to get got scratch medicine. That type of thing. We'll get in the video to say. There's Gazoo. Gotta say good morning to Gazoo. Careful, you're gonna go through the deck. You need to lose some weight. What's up, Gazoo? Come say hi. Say hi. Now he's like, look at my butt. He does that to the camera all the time. He's like, oh, he shows his butt to the camera. I guess he likes his butt. He likes big butts. I like my big butt. And I can't deny it. Yeah. Yeah, all 20 some odd pounds of him. We haven't weighed him in a while. He's actually lost a bit of weight, believe it or not. Wow. So we say. Anyway. All right, so another crisp morning out there. Let's just jump into it. The debates, the presidential debates. Okay. I didn't watch them. I couldn't watch them. I tried to, but every time I caught in on that, like the halftime with Wolfie Blitzer and what you call him, CIA boy and all them. Oh, Hillary won. That's all I heard. And then, of course, I turned on the CBC this morning. According to the mainstream media, objectively, everybody unanimously agrees in the mainstream media that Hillary won, which I don't know because I haven't watched the debate. But it doesn't matter. This kind of goes back to what I'm saying. She's going to win the election. Although the speculation or the thing is that Trump was tweeted about something like 60 some odd percent to Hillary's 61%, and 39% was tweets of Hillary after the debate. So it doesn't really say who won or lost or whatever, so to speak. And how do you define won or lost? Whatever. Of course, both camps are going to say this side won, that side won, right? So I get that. Why I didn't watch it? I'll probably because watching it live with commercials and with all that stuff. You got to understand my internet here. Like, I mean, I'm very limited. I get 60 gigs a month. That's it. I go a gig over. It's $10 per gig. So, and I think I'm probably going to be already over this month anyway. Your $60 bill goes to 180 very quickly. So I got to be very careful if I go over the type of thing. So I don't mind paying the extra. Someday maybe I'll get unlimited, and it's like I envy my sister. Like she's got like streaming going on, everything. Or Roku runs off the internet. There, she like uses like 200, 300, 400 gigs a month, and it's like nothing. I mean, it's like whatever. But anyway, so I wait, and I'll just catch the edited, maybe not highlights, but the debate with basically just her and him. I can imagine it probably went the way I thought it was going to go. They probably, baby gloves for Hillary Clinton, try to make her look as good as possible. And, of course, they probably would have came at him with everything they got, right? And you have to understand, the mainstream media has already agreed to do this, to roast Donald Trump as much as possible. So, if you're anti-Trump, this seems like a good thing. But it's a cheat for even the anti-Trump people. This is a cheat for you. This is not good. This is not democracy. Now, technically, the United States is a republic, not a democracy. But it's basically very unfair because it cheats the people that are in the Hillary Clinton camp in the way of you're not getting to hear the other side of the candidate, which is proper. Like you're not getting a fair debate. And if the shoe were on the other foot, again, you would be. I think if anything, it will harden down whoever's hardline for Trump. They clearly going to see that the mainstream media is totally out to get him. It's not even paranoia at this point. Like, I have not heard one positive thing on the CBC about Trump today at all. Like, and it's like everybody. Oh no, Hillary won. It's like let's see what some of the viewers said about the like 3 people in a row pro Hillary. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't think so. Like that's it's pure manipulation. It's pure manipulation. And that should be the big debate right there is how, this is why the CBC needs to be completely defunded with public money. If they're going to pull stuff like that, they're supposed to be fair and non-biased in their reporting. They're clearly in favor of Hillary Clinton. And although a lot of people might not understand, there is a Canadian connection too. The media system here in Canada is the American media system as well. It's the same system. It's, maybe 2 different owners, but they are so in line with other people at the top. Like the guy who owns the CBC basically and all the Canadian media basically is heavily invested in oil, et cetera, works with the Soros and Rothschilds and all that. Like it's the same. It's one system. It's one system. So it doesn't matter where you go in the world. It's one system. That said, when you ask the man on the street on policy differences, not saying which candidate stands for what, 99% of the time people side with Donald Trump's policies. That's what I mean. Like, you got to look at the policies. That's the only thing you should be looking at. Now, till I watch the debate, I'm at the. I know I have to do it because that's what my channel, is a lot about, is about geopolitics and stuff. And I have to do it to get the fair, to give you where he went wrong, where he went right, where she went wrong, where she went right, that type of thing, how it was spun. Yes, I got to do that. But there's also another side too here, is that it really doesn't matter. Even if Donald Trump cleaned her clock in the debates, it won't matter. She's still going to win. Even if the majority of people hate Hillary Clinton, she's still going to win. Why? It's her turn. It's rigged. There is no election. She is not. How they're going to, they've been trying to steal the election for a long time, the momentum from Donald Trump, and they can't seem to do it. Did this do it? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, things can sway. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not saying Donald Trump is the best choice. It's the only choice Americans have. It's kind of like the Syrians in Syria. Their only choice for whenever elections come around is Assad. They don't, the alternative is ISIS. So, there's really no choice. There is no choice. Here in Canada, we didn't really have that much of a choice either between Harper and Trudeau. Harper was definitely a better leader. And a much better leader than what Trudeau will ever be in a lot of ways. However, it was a rock and a hard place. If you voted for Trudeau, we're going to get this crazy leftism, progressivism coming in, which we're seeing coming in full force now, and extreme taxation and a collapsed economy. However, new boss, same as the old boss, both were, Trudeau's going full bore on the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership. Where's all the transparency that he was talking about, right? Harper was open about it. So yeah, we're going to do the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership. It was, a feather in the cap of the 40-some-odd trade deals that we did. I'm not against trade deals, and Harper holds the records for trade deals around the world in such a short amount of time. I mean, he won Statesman of the Year just because the man all he did was business, I'm sure he set himself up well for now, and again, there's a lot of stuff I objected with that. But at least they were kind of like, well, this is what we're doing, and here's our plan, and they'd follow through on it. With the Liberals right now, there's no plan. They really haven't done anything other than bring in a ridiculous amount of people to put on welfare. Other than that, they haven't really done anything. They haven't done anything to create. They haven't created a single job yet. They've given a lot of money to their buddies, but they haven't created a single job. And I think, like anything, every time people vote Liberal, it kicks them in the ass. Here in Canada. But I think the difference is we can survive Justin Trudeau. As bad as it's going to be in the next 3 years, as bad as it is going to be for the Canadian economy and Canadian jobs, it's already becoming devastating in some areas, particularly out west. It's really starting to show. Now, not all that has to do with Justin Trudeau, but he's doing everything to make it worse, not make it better. Now, that said, we'll survive that once we get, somebody in power eventually, which is going to come in Canada. There's going to be a new party coming up in Canada. Hopefully not another leftist party. It has to be a centered party on a lot of things, but it has to go more right-wing or upper nationalistic left. It has to do that in order for Canada to really rebound. Now, why am I saying that with Canada? The case in point is we can weather that storm. We'll survive it. If Donald Trump were to win, again, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Like I've said, I'll buy $100 of canned foods and non-perishable foods, take it to the Shepherds of Good Hope homeless soup kitchen, homeless shelter in Ottawa there. Donate that. That's how much I believe Hillary Clinton is going to win. It's just the cards are so stacked against Donald Trump. And again, maybe this is all a setup in the first place anyway. It's hard to say. If Donald Trump does choke in the 11th hour, that is kind of suspicious. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. Was there an election at all? Probably not. But that said, if he is the real deal, I mean, you have to hold his feet to the fire after he wins, if he wins. However, he's not going to win. It's Hillary Clinton's turn to win. It's a selection, not an election. And if you haven't picked up on the mainstream media, if it was an election, you would probably see more non-biased coverage. But you have to understand, the media does have a dog in this fight. If Donald Trump is the real deal and he wins, the mainstream media is going to get a shit kicking. They're going to be put on notice. People are going to probably get fired and go to jail. Now you say, well, I don't see that. You have to understand what's happening in the Congress right now. Now, I don't even know if any of that got brought up, of her criminality and all the investigations. The amount of people that are going to go to jail that have covered for Hillary Clinton, including the media, are going to be they have to make sure she wins, because if they don't, they lose big. She's a big domino, and like I said before, if she can't win the election, they'll find a way to cancel the election. If they can't, if it's too far apart that they just, right now every poll you hear is Clinton is ahead by like 1 or 2 points, but that's on the mainstream. Then you look elsewhere, it's the opposite. Donald Trump is ahead by not a little bit, but noticeable. So polls are unreliable, I get that, but if you take out of 100 polls, moving away from the mainstream media, the favoritism is to Donald Trump. Media, even here in Canada, again, this will speak volumes to my American brothers and sisters down there. When Canadian, this comes from BNN, when Canadian investors were asked who they favored for a win, Donald Trump. Canadian investors want Donald Trump to win because they know it's going to be better for the economy. They know Donald Trump's going to, hands down, he's going to be better for the economy, although the economy is going to be a long way from fixed. He's not going to be able to fix it. Donald Trump is the stepping stone to the next guy, which I think after the next election in 2020, that's where Rand Paul really has to step up to his game. That's really about the only moderate choice that could have been made this time around. Maybe Ben Carson. Ben Carson's, I'd rather have Rand Paul than Ben Carson, but between the two, those were the only two guys that I kind of liked. Bernie Sanders, people keep asking me, well, what about Bernie Sanders? Did you like him? He's not believable. No, Bernie Sanders is not an option. He sounds like an option from a populist, social justice warrior point of view. He sounds good, but the reason he's a Trotskyite communist, openly admitted. This guy loves socialism. Talking about socialism when you have a $20 trillion deficit is just impossible. There is no socialism at that point. Its collapse is inevitable. You can't add any more debt to the pile. You cannot enslave the next 50 generations, to pay off, to sell the future to live it better now. Keynesian economics is debt-based and it's failure. The way it's supposed to work in theory versus practice, yes, you can make Keynesian economics work to a degree if you stimulate and do austerity at the same time, which technically you could say the Harper government did, but they were still more, Austrian economics based, where we're going to get out of debt and stay out of debt. You can't spend what you don't make. So they had to do austerity, but once they did the austerity, then they were going Austrian economics a little bit. Not very much, I know. And again, I always get bashed because you have to understand, like, you have to look at, it's so intertwined of how things are done. With this little bit of this going on, a little bit of that going on, a little bit of that going on, a little bit of that going on, and how it plays out. So no, they're not all hardcore one thing or another. That's the thing that too many people think they're all this or all that. It's a hodgepodge. It's a hodgepodge. You have to look at it. Some policies are going to be very leftist and authoritarian. Some are going to be very, very libertarian based. Very few. There's no government out there right now asking for more liberty. They're always asking for more, take more rights, etc., etc. So anyway, but the case in point is when Hillary Clinton wins, okay, what is Plan B? What do you do? Because at that point, that is a semi-truck with no brakes coming down a San Francisco hill. And I've been down those San Francisco hills on a bus. I know what it's like. Those things, the bus comes down in first gear and the bus high centers at the top of the crest. So you're coming down a San Francisco hill and your brakes go out. What do you do? And the brakes are about to give. Do you get off the bus first? Do you ride it out and see where it's going to end up and hope to survive? Because that's what a Hillary Clinton win really will be. It'll be worse than what I can imagine. I've listened to this woman for years and only really picked up on the past couple of years how much of a lunatic she actually is. The thing is with Donald Trump, if he were to win, you would get a civil war to a degree, definitely a race war because of George Soros funding all the Black Lives Matter. You have these new movies, these slavery movies coming out, I think what's called Birth of a Nation or whatever. Again, more divide and conquer. All this propaganda comes out at the same time. Ever notice that? That coincidentally, we released this movie just as riots are going on with Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. Funded by George Soros. It's the same people behind these things all the time. But when he wins, you get that. You might even get an economic collapse on it because then they can blame it on his policies. But the problem is his policies, cutting government, okay, actually helps. You don't see it right away. Yes, the media will oh my God, you got rid of government. Now we don't have this service. We don't have that service. And then people start noticing that they're not paying as much taxes and they can start to spend. They don't need those services anymore. This is the kicker. Government is a parasite. It's welfare. It doesn't matter what level of government you're talking about. It's welfare. It cannot exist without the private sector. Problem is when the government overtakes the private sector to a degree of unsustainability, well, the rest is, you can figure out the rest. To finish up, when Hillary Clinton wins, okay, and she's going to win. I'm 100% convinced of this. Again, like I said, I'll put my money where my mouth is. Not because I want her to win. It's because she's going to win. She has so much stacked in her side that the only way she doesn't win is if they could take her down. But however, like I said, the three scenarios that most likely would happen is we know she's not healthy. Now, is she not naturally unhealthy, or is it the because if you haven't noticed, like there's days where she cannot function, and then other times she seems like she's aware and alert and everything like that. I think it's them playing around with her medication, whatever medication she might be on. And I think what they'll do is, if it looks like Congress can actually, get this woman put in prison, and the people that are coming after, they're going after all the staff first. Someone's going to sing at some point. So again, these people that will, defend Hillary Clinton illegally to hide her emails, and I mean, even that's come out. Yeah, this guy went on a public forum to find out how to erase her IP address out of the emails, like basically doing criminal acts. So this guy, again, if you remember a while back, I talked about that dream I had. This is the type of guy that's going to end up in the firing squad, for the Hillary Clinton. So is he going to sing before he ends up in the firing squad? I think so. And if not him, pick 1,000 other people. That's the risk factor. Anybody that not so much can testify, but that's caught on the spot. It's like, okay, they do this with the drug dealers. Okay, they get the pusher and say, well, you give us who the dealer is, and we'll cut you down from 10 years down to 5 years, that type of thing. Well, I'll tell you everything if you give me immunity, and I'll roast some big guys. It'll be worth your time. That's going to happen. Of course, that's going to happen. Why? That's the way these people function. Especially the ones that are, same in the banking system and stuff like that. They're so corrupt that the ones below them, they know it's corrupt, and they're going along to get along, but they don't realize that they're the ones that get roasted first. So someone's going to sing at some point. And when they do, Hillary Clinton, okay, they're going to be coming with the steel with the steel bracelets for her. And if that looks like that's the case, if she were to sing, she's going to be taking down Brzezinski, Kissinger, George Soros, a whole bunch of media people, tons of Rothschilds, Rockefellers, tons of banking system. Like if this woman were to sing, I mean, you have to understand, the system that supports her now will kill her like that if they think she's going to go down from a legal point of view. Because she's a big domino. She's a linchpin. You pull that linchpin, all of a sudden, you can get evidence to take down the Rothschilds. You can get evidence to take down the Goldman Sachs, the J.P. Morgans, the IMF, the Federal Reserve, the links going. And just look who's funding her. Billions and billions of dollars. They're putting billions and billions of dollars. If they put the same amount of money into Donald Trump's campaign, there would be no chance for Hillary Clinton whatsoever. And if you haven't really figured it out, the mainstream media isn't pro-Hillary Clinton. They're covering for it because they're again, covering for themselves. You know what I mean? So if she goes down, they'll just change her medication and kill her. If she wins, what they might do is kill her after, and then they, being her own side, her own support, again, she's linked to so much stuff. It's like, okay, we won the election, we can now give it to who our number 2 candidate is, and, just hand it over to them. Less liability, get rid of her, because she's too much liability right now. But it's all in. It's all in. I mean, this is the last American election, or possibly the last possible free American election. But it's not really an election, it's a selection. So if Donald Trump really takes an astronomical lead, again, you won't hear it on the mainstream media, but there's just in the votes, like if the votes just come in too much in favor of Donald Trump, like if he's at like 70% to her 30% type of thing, at that point, they'll have to find a way to stop the election if they think that it's really going to be that close. Or not that close, but that much of a divide. If it's like 49 to 51%, okay, well, that type of thing, okay, they can swing that. They can manipulate that, but they can't manipulate too big of a, or people are just going to notice and they're going to freak out. So a Hillary Clinton win, what does that mean? Again, like I've said, and again, if you've been following my channel for a long time, if you're just jumping in on this, and maybe you hate everything I just said, okay, fine, whatever. I'm just the messenger here. And you say, yeah, but you're just speculating. Yes, but if you follow my channel, you know my track record. I don't get everything right, but when I get things right, man, it's a horrible time. I mean, things East-West Ukraine, who called that? Me. The beheading of Lee Rigby, who called that? Me. But not by name. Saw that coming. The migrant crisis and the civil war brewing in Europe. Who's been calling that? And it's not just me. I get my information just from observation mainly, but a lot of people are coming to the same conclusions. So a Hillary Clinton win means a civil war, a race war, and a thermonuclear war with Russia and China. First, yes, you'll probably go after Iran first, Libya again, and Syria. There will be boots on the ground. But like a U.S. General Dunsford or whatever, if you haven't caught the footage, short little clip while it was on RT, saying that a no-fly zone in Syria means we're going to go to war with Russia and the Syrians and Iran. Basically, and he's like, I'm not really, and the Chinese, I'm not really ready to sign on to that deal. That's what a no-fly zone means in Syria, is direct war with Russia, which we are so close to right now anyway. Hillary Clinton guarantees that. So you might survive a civil war, you might survive a race war, but most likely none of us will survive a thermonuclear war, because when Russia's in the game against the United States, all the NATO nuclear powers are in the game, as well as China's in the game. So between Russia and China, North Korea obviously will be, and then whoever else is favorable to Russia and China with nuclear power is in the game. And that game is just, it's complete nihilism. And again, mainstream media doesn't cover those things on Hillary Clinton. Again, you just don't see it. So again, there's probably, and I'd hate to say it, but probably the majority, but you have to understand, because people are not seeing both sides of the story, the majority of people in Canada are probably pro-Hillary Clinton because they don't know this woman. They don't know what she is. They don't know how dangerous she actually is. They don't realize Libya is her foreign policy. And last I looked, Libya isn't looking too freaking healthy right now. Again, this woman is just, I'm not saying Donald Trump will be perfect, but like I say, there is no choice. It's Donald Trump or die. Donald Trump will be a rough ride. There's no doubt about that. But it's Donald Trump or die. The Americans missed their golden opportunity of Ron Paul. Rand Paul was probably a silver opportunity. Rand Paul would not fix the problem, but he would be a modest step back to liberty. In 4 years, you'd probably see a small change, but a change in the right direction. Another 8 years of Rand Paul would be a very moderate thing. Heck, the United States would probably be almost as stable as Canada in some ways. And then there are a lot of ways we're destabilizing now. We're in destabilization mode. We were stabilized for 10 years under the Harper government, even though he was a globalist. We were still stabilized. We had a growing economy. We could have reversed a lot of what the Harper government did without destroying the gains that we did get from it, a growing economy 7 out of 10 years, even though it was slight growth. And that was the thing. This is what we were arguing about here in Canada, was Harper was saying, look, we were the last ones into the recessions, the first ones out, and this is true. We have a balanced budget and a slightly growing economy. Yes, a little bit of a dip from the hit from the oil and stuff like that, and we had a slightly growing economy. As soon as the Liberals won, the Liberals were saying our economy just wasn't growing fast enough, but it was growing. Now, anybody that understood what was going on should have clearly understood that the slight growth that we had in this current economic hellstorm of going around the world, that was the best that could probably be achieved for about any country. We were the number one in the G7 and pretty much number one in the G20 for a few years as well, just in growth. And of course, we got taken out by Norwegia. Norway and Canada are always kind of like, no, who's the better do-gooder? Eh? It's like, I'd love to go visit Norway. I think it'd be awesome, just so I could go give those Norwegians a piece of my Canadian mind. Eh? Yeah, but anyway, always competing with us to see who's a better place to live, who has a better growing economy, who has we're always back and forth, who has a better education system. But now we're in decline. We're in decline now. And trust me, it's calm before the storm. But, once the transfer payments stop going from one province to the next, that's when people are going to realize how bad Trudeau's policies are. But again, after 4 years, we can weather that. But Hillary Clinton, you cannot weather. Canada cannot weather. You have to understand, when we go to war with Russia and China, the Chinese are our neighbors that way. Our neighbors that way. The Russians are our neighbors that way. The battleground between Russia and China and the United States is Canada. So we got a dog in this fight. Canadians are probably more interested in this election than any, and of course it was a record-breaking debate, the biggest one ever tuned into. in history. But there's so much dog in the fight here. Yes, there's the people that still have good paying jobs for now, but those jobs are going to go away very quickly under Hillary Clinton. They're disappearing under Trudeau. Trudeau, again, giving his new trade deals with China. That's more sovereignty, more sovereignty. And there's no gain in it. There's gains for them, but no gains for us. But anyway, with Hillary Clinton, it's the neoconism, the following the Zionist and neocon policies guarantees war. So what is Plan B? What is Plan B when Hillary Clinton wins? What are you going to do? Are you going to hunker down, weather the storm? Because it's getting to the point where there's really no place in the world that you can go to be safe from these people. What is Plan B? I think Hellhounds 2.0 come out. We're already at the first wave Hellhounds trying to restore rule of law and put these corrupt elites in jail. But the thing is the system is so rigged that they're probably not going to. It will lead to a stage 2 Hellhounds, and I call them spooks with a conscience, patriots, spies, whatever, the other New World Order. Does seem to be behind the scenes other world factions trying to fight. The ones that are trying to fight apparently are more good guys, but they'll become the new authoritarians as well. So how do the people take this back from the madness? How do we pull this back from the brink? I don't know. Or does it just have to play out and then, in the aftermath of it all, God knows what comes out of that. Probably terrifying things. Things you can't even imagine. But yes, this will lead to, again, there will be no economic collapse until war comes. I've been consistent on that. But you are seeing that bleed out where people are just becoming so gradually poor, you just can't afford to live. Like here in Canada, talking about, inflation finally went down a bit for food. But yeah, but it didn't go down by that much. It went down by like a 0.5% or something like that. But it's up since 2008. It's up by like 5%, 6%, 7%. You know what I mean? Like there is no win here. On a minimum wage job, even at $15 an hour, it's almost impossible to live, a comfortable life. You know what I mean? Like it's getting ridiculous. It's not a wage problem. It's an inflation problem. It's a global debt problem. It's a debt problem. A death and debt-based economy. The United States has a death and debt-based economy, and it's felt everywhere. And if you don't take their petrodollar, you get democracy JDAMs. And trust me, Clinton is a war hawk. She is a war president. That's all she talks about. Froths at the mouth with the idea of going to war here, there, and everywhere. And again, just look who she surrounds herself with. But anyway, yeah, so what is Plan B? Where do you go? What do you do? There is no country that, and I know there's a lot of Americans saying, well, if Donald Trump wins, we're going to go to Canada. Well, you're not going to like Canada anymore because if you don't like Trump, you're going to hate Trudeau. You're going to hate Trudeau. Even if you're leftist, you're going to hate Trudeau. If Hillary Clinton wins, the people that are voting for Hillary Clinton, I wouldn't call them low IQ voters. I think they do know the difference. I call them, what's the word for it? Like they use cognitive. They know she does bad things, but they make an excuse for everything. There's a word for it. If you know what the word is there, you guys know I always get these brain farts and I can never think of the word. But anyway, they will just blindly follow this woman. They will vote for Hillary and follow her right down into the gates of hell. They gladly, like they're lemmings in that sense. Like they're just going to go off the cliff with Hillary, and she can do no wrong. It will be doesn't matter. I think Donald Trump was right in his rally speech. Said she could go into a crowd of 20,000 people, blow somebody away with a gun, shoot the guy right in the heart, and still get away with it. And the other side will still make excuses for it. Oh wow, it's because of misogyny and racism, and like it's amazing. These people are so brainwashed into that mindset that they want their person to win so bad that they're willing to overlook any sort of rational thought. Like it's beyond cognitive dissonance. It's Machiavellian. It's ends justify the means. You know what I mean? We don't care if she's really that bad because we're going to get all this glory once she wins. You're going to get death and destruction once she wins. That's it. So what is Plan B? I mean, even as a Canadian, I'm like trying to think of what island can I put the boat in the water and what island can I make it to where the fallout from the radiation will be the only thing I can think of is go north, north or to the Antarctic. I don't want to live in the North Pole or the Antarctic, but I know radiation goes dormant there. Why is this something that I want to do right away? No, obviously I'm not going to jump to it. Am I being dramatic? Actually, I'm not. I do see it. We are that close on the brink. Again, if you follow this channel, you know about my World War III updates. And like the past 2 weeks has been something spectacular. And it's not sensationalizing or fear-mongering. It's like, just look at the dots moving on the grand chessboard here. Zbigniew Brzezinski's grand chessboard is playing out just the way he wanted it. Froths at the mouth was going with the idea of going to war with Russia. Again, Hillary Clinton, she takes her marching orders from Mr. Kissinger and the United Nations. The United Nations is the one main thing that gets us into war. It's not a do-gooder, it's a Rockefeller organization. So it's all one system. It's all one system. So how do we get outside that system, I guess, is the question. And how do we save ourselves, save our families, save the people we care about? Well, the thing is there's going to be people that we're going to lose no matter what in this kind of ordeal. I think after the election, when Hillary Clinton wins, at that point it's game over and game on. The reason why I say that is because when she wins, then there's total supremacy of the system. The United Nations gets to come in and take the United States on every policy Justin Trudeau's bringing in right now is UN backed. Sustainable development, Agenda 21, buzzwords. You hear it all the time, sustainable development. You hear it on the left side, the right side, sustainable development. These are coming from Agenda 21 and now Agenda 2030. And if you haven't been, I got to finish up the Agenda 2030 thing just so you know what's in there. It's pretty dry material, but you get the idea of like all the utopianism that they're talking about. How are they going to bring it in without death and destruction? Impossible. Yes, when she wins, the third world floods into the first world. Where do we go? You know what I mean? And we see it, look, if you haven't been watching what's happening in Sweden with their, progressivism, right now you have about 3 police officers a day quitting. 70 cars burnt this week, hand grenades, automatic machine gun fire in these Sharia no-go zones. That's what the United States is going to burn from within. So this leads you definitely to a civil war. There's no doubt about that. Who wins? Who knows? I don't think it would be a short-term war, that type of thing. I do believe it will get to that. And trust me, the military is on the side of Hillary Clinton in that sense. They will follow orders. Voting-wise, no, they won't. They're not on Hillary Clinton's side. Donald Trump definitely is going to get the military vote. But the amount of people that just follow orders is, historically speaking, is never in the interest of the people. We saw it in Ukraine, all those guys out there, Berkut guys out there going, on their knees begging forgiveness from the people. Sorry, we were just following orders. You know what I mean? We're going to see that in the States too. We're going to see that. But that's also what makes the civil war coming in the United States that much worse, is because, like we see in Mexico, like we've seen in most of the South American countries, whenever the people just follow orders, well, there won't be a Nuremberg trial. It will be pitchfork revolution trials, which means less rule of law. Less rule of law just means whoever, if there is, I think there will be a setup for a military coup. No doubt, probably. I would say if I had to put a timeline on it now, it might not happen by this time. I'm usually 2 years off of my predictions. But I would say with Hillary Clinton winning, at that point, stage 2 kicks in because people know that there is no rule of law. So therefore, you'll see spy via spy stuff, judges getting knocked off. We're seeing that now. But you're going to see that type of, people sabotage people. You're going to see people getting, general, like the military purge Obama did was a historic one. No president in history has purged the military like for military brass like Obama did. Hillary Clinton will definitely top that. She will definitely top that. But anyway, so stage 2 will come in right after the election, leading up to stage 3 Hellhound, which stage 3 Hellhound is a military coup. It will not be carried out by the majority of the military. It'll be done by the handful of military, probably backing, basically civil war rebels. So who are the new rebels? Patriots, Oath Keepers, people who believe in the Constitution. Trust me, the war on them is just going to be beginning. So the 3%ers will rise again. There's no doubt about that. The games will begin shortly after the election. But I say about mid-2017. At the rate we're going at now with the lunacy we got, especially as the wars kick up even higher and the tensions kick up even higher with Russia and China. I don't think we go to war right away, but give it 6, maybe 8 months, we could be in a war. I think just before war breaks out with Russia and China under Hillary Clinton, again, Trump is the only one talking about negotiating with China, negotiating with Putin. It doesn't mean he's in favor of them. It means he doesn't want to go to war with them. At least you'll survive Donald Trump, is what I'm saying. Hillary Clinton wants to go to war with them. And just before that breaks out, I think military generals step up and say, well, we have to look at the Constitution again. Enemies, foreign and domestic. Who can I rely on? And these guys, they're going to go for broke. Will they win? It's hard to say, because it might be 3% of the military, if that, rise up to do a military coup. But then again, if we look at Fidel Castro, he only needed 15 guys to do his military coup, and he had 85. He had a lot of spares. But then again, new boss could be worse than the old boss. I mean, can you imagine being liberated by Che Guevara, Fidel Castro, or Saddam Hussein? You know what I mean? Didn't work out very well for the people. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So that's why third stage hellhound. You know, like this is why we need to restore rule of law now. We need to put these world elites in jail before they kill us all. So what is Plan B? I really don't know what Plan B is. I don't know how you weather this storm. Because where do you go? I guess, like I've always said, you have to fight where your feet are, and that type of thing. And I'm not making any threats. I'm just saying, right now, if you're going to get active politically, now is the time to do it. Because after the election, trust me, all right-wing channels will be shut down. They're already trying to do that now. The hate speech laws, I mean, trust me, it will be very, very brutal. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. That's the worst part. Like, it's like, I know there's a bit wishful thinking that, okay, yes. And people will be screaming and yelling at me if Donald Trump were to win. They'll say, and 4 years later, even the people that voted for him will be like, what the hell did I do? What was I thinking? But they don't realize that they don't have an option right now. You don't have an option. You have to vote for Donald Trump, not because he's a great guy, a great candidate. There are some great things that Donald Trump is proposing. He will not be able to get done probably a tenth. There's nobody on his side in there. He'll be a lame duck president the whole time on most things. However, what he can control, like if you think Obama did a lot of executive orders, Trump will have no choice but to do executive orders. To show the people what side he's on, and show his true colors, which these will be basically very liberty and economic oriented, in a good way, executive orders. There's no doubt about that. But the thing is he's also going to do a lot of authoritarian stuff too, like the stop and frisk. There is no reason why he should have even brought that up this late in the hour. Again, is he really campaigning or not? I don't know. We'll never know. He plays his hand too well to say whether he's lying or he's a genuine thing, that type of thing. Because he should know, I'm not going to bring that up until after the election. Like there's some things like he does seem to be a bit of a loose cannon that way. Now, granted, the man does speak off the cuff. I do it myself. I put my foot in my mouth. I contradict myself. I do that. Everybody does that when you're not running off a teleprompter or a script, right? So yeah, you got to cut him some slack like that. But sometimes that's what hurts him. That said, will it hurt him enough? I don't think so. I think people that are voting for Donald Trump, and I've heard this from a lot of people too. Even like recently too, like I like 90% of what he says I like, but that 10% is really terrifying. But 90% of what Hillary Clinton says is terrifying, and maybe 10% might be good. And that's being very generous to Hillary Clinton. I have not heard one policy that I really agree with that woman on anything. And again, they keep talking about her exemplary history. Yes, she's a career politician, but find me one thing that she's done that didn't lead to death and destruction of people. Find me one good thing. Oh, but she's such a great thing for women. No, she's not. No, she's not. Again, when you look into this woman's past, there's just nothing nice she's done for anybody. Nothing. There's just not, like, a lot of great speeches, but there's none of her policies. Benghazi was a disaster. She's was pro Iraq War. Again, she's in because she's a part of that system. Like, there's just nothing good about this woman at all. Now, for the people, I know the majority of women are going to vote for Hillary Clinton because she has a vagina. That's what a lot of them are, because they're not looking at the politics. But you have to understand what comes on the heels of that. If you are a woman and you are pro-Hillary, you really need to see how evil she is. Now, the good news is the ones that usually don't just go take the mainstream media's word for it and actually look into it, usually do not, like a lot, there's so many liberals out there right now that are true liberal, neoclassical liberals, and not progressives. Progressives is the new communists. The progressivism, that's what Hillary Clinton stands for. That's what Justin Trudeau stands for. That's what's bringing in all this divide and conquer stuff. Again, Soviet-style ideological subversion. Doesn't mean the Soviets are doing it, but the blueprint. Demoralize, destabilize, crisis, normalization period. The normalization period is going to be a brutal time under a Clinton regime. But all this divide and conquer, transgendered bathrooms and all that, it plays into the divide and conquer. Black Lives Matter. Again, George Soros, who funds Hillary campaign, who also funds the destabilization of the Ukraine and other, and Black Lives Matter, and all the bad death and destruction you see around the world is connected to these people. They're all the same. And when people see that, so we got all these liberals like, well, how do I vote? There's nobody for me to vote for. They took Bernie Sanders away, gave it to Clinton, and then Bernie Sanders, rather than ask for fairness, turns around and endorses Hillary. So again, these people were completely alienated. The Ron Paul crowd saw this themselves, where the mainstream media didn't cover them at all. Again, if they would have, again, people, when they look into it, and you listen to Ron Paul, I don't agree with him on every policy, but he's probably would be the safest president in history. It's just he's too old now. That ship has sailed. So his son is the next best thing. His son is a little bit more centrist, sure, but he's a step in the right direction. 8 years of Rand Paul and another Rand Paul candidate like that, 12 years, 20 years down the road, the United States is probably not only the most prosperous country again, but safe. And the world would be a lot safer with non-interventionism, that type of thing. That's why, like for here in Canada, I'd love to see, I'd love to start a nationalist, not 1933 Germany, nationalist socialism, that type of thing, but a nationalist for Canada, a nationalist sovereigntist movement that makes Canada non-interventionist. Now, if Trump were to win, we could. Trust me, we'll get a party here that will be probably Trump light. And I mean, they were saying it with what you call them there from the Dragons Den there. Always forgetting names or whatever. But anyway, they were trying to say like he was like the Canadian Trump. There was O'Leary, Kevin O'Leary. Oh yeah, he's going to be like Trump light. We'd get somebody like that now. Kevin O'Leary. There's some things about him that I didn't like. In that, but I think, business-wise, if you want to see a prosperous country, this guy is not, he's rich for a reason, you know what I mean? So Kevin O'Leary as Prime Minister versus Justin Trudeau, I think Kevin O'Leary would be hands down. Why? Because he wouldn't even touch the social issues. It's like, okay, no, they want to do that, go knock yourselves out. If it doesn't make money, I don't care. That's all the guys. If it doesn't make money, I don't care. You can have it, I don't care. You want to do this, do that, whatever, I don't care. As long as it makes money. That's prosper. That's all the guy thinks about. And he knows how to do it. Now, Donald Trump, same thing. You have to, yes, he's went bankrupt. Yeah, but he has 150 of, like Donald Trump, you can actually track good things from. Would he be a tough boss? I think so. But you don't get to run 150 business and employ thousands of people by being a nice guy. You do got to have a bit of a stiff upper lip. That said, I think, like anything, negotiate. On foreign policy and stuff like that, negotiate is what we need. Diplomacy. They used to call it diplomacy. Now they just call it democracy JDAMs. If you don't know what a JDAM is, it's about, 9-10 feet long, weighs about 2,000 pounds, wipes out a city block. That's what a JDAM is. Sometimes I forget because people don't know the things that I know. Some people, the military guys know what a JDAM is. And if you ever seen them in action, you would ask yourself, why did we drop that bomb on a village without negotiating with the people first? You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. And then we wonder why there's a war on terrorism. You know what I mean? We just killed women and children like crazy. And men. Again. And we're forcing the men to fight. It's just utter chaos, right? So what Plan B is? Again, I guess I really want to put that guy in your heads that I think there's, if anything, again, I didn't even watch the debates yet. I don't even think I have to, but I'm going to. But I don't think I have to because I was more, like I said in my previous video, that it was going to be a roast to Donald Trump at all costs kind of thing. And I think I was right because all I've been seeing is the highlight reels of. We're not going to really show anything Donald Trump said. We're just going to talk and tell you how you should vote for Hillary Clinton. And it's up here in Canada. I'm sure if it's in Canada, it's all over the world that you have to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's whatever, because she's a woman, because Donald Trump's a sexist, racist bigot and stuff like that. Even though 16.5% of the African American vote, they're basically ditched the Democrats and going with Donald Trump. That's the gain. So I don't know. He might be at 20% with the African Americans, which he's again, people who are paying attention look at it and they're probably sitting there saying, yes, Donald Trump isn't the best, but who else am I going to vote for, right? It always does kind of come down to a throwaway vote. Some people say, no, you vote. Let's say there's an unknown name guy or an independent or whatever. Vote for him. Okay, you could do that, but you have to understand these elections are getting to the point where you can't really do that because there's so much to lose. Like it's getting to the point where you used to be able to do that, where you could vote for some other party and okay, well, if this guy won or that guy won, if Mulroney won or Chrétien won, okay. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I voted for Chrétien once, and then once I understood what his policies were, that's where I guess a long time ago. And Chrétien's still behind the scenes here in Canada. You see him, and he's a criminal. He's a hardcore criminal. This guy sold out our country. Yes, Brian Mulroney sold out our country by giving it away to NAFTA. but it was, Chrétien who made it flourish. You know what I mean? And I'll just say this, like, it's like, okay, but even at that, as bad as those guys were, it was during a recession, whatever, and, Brian Mulroney, wasn't a great leader by any stretch of the imagination. Chrétien wasn't a great leader by any stretch of the imagination, but they were survivable. You know what I mean? Even during a recession, they were survivable. Mind you, I didn't like entering the workforce in the recession, but it was survivable. At that point, it wasn't to the batshit crazy. Right now, it's like when you win everything, or you lose everything. And it's just, do you vote for Satan or do you vote for the devil? Like which one do you pick? It's like, who's going to hurt me least? And if you do a throwaway vote, as you'll call it, yes, you're voting to your conscience and you'll have a clean conscience. But, the biggest vote that I'm going to be curious about is the non-vote. The people that just don't vote at all. Again, the Liberals, they've got nobody to really vote for. There is no number 2 that's not going to lead back to Clinton. You know what I mean? It's just, there. But the thing is because I know she's going to win. I'm positive she's going to win. Again, I was more concerned last night about how the media was going to spin this debate. And it's playing out just like I said it would. Of course, there's not one media pundit there that has said anything pro-Trump at all. And it's not because there's nothing that Trump has at all that isn't worth voting for. It's, like there is a lot of things, yes, you can, if the media says, we're going to cover this, be critical on Donald Trump on this, and they even have the gumption, and this is up here in the CBC, saying, and you're going to laugh on this one, they're saying it in the States too, again, because it's a mockingbird media. What they're reporting here in Canada, they're reporting in the States. There's no difference. They might as well just have one newscaster for, like North Korea. It works. At least there, like the lady's entertaining. You know what I mean? But here it's like you got all these different newscasters, okay, reporting the same thing, saying the exact same. You can switch the channels, and every single channel is repeating the exact same, almost word for word. But they're saying perhaps the mainstream media is going too hard on Hillary Clinton and too light on Donald Trump. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, sorry for the language, but like come on, like that is like the most ultimate insult to anybody with a bit of a brain. It's like, even if you're pro Hillary Clinton, you can clearly see the bias on the mainstream in any country is for Hillary Clinton. You cannot say that the mainstream media, particularly up here in Canada, the CBC, isn't campaigning for Hillary. Now, mind you, that's supposed to be illegal. And trust me, when I'm president, the CBC's defunded, period. You can't trust them. No more taking of billions of tax dollars to fund the next. No, that's got to stop. Open up the area to the only laws I'd make mandatory for media is that everybody gets to compete. Everybody gets to compete. Not $36,000 to open up to get a license to broadcast. No, maybe okay. Well, we do need some regulatory stuff. What channels and what, but just take it right down. Let the open up the field. If you want to have an antenna sticking out your garage. We'll regulate, the RF signal, fine. Go away. Right now, you can't have that stuff anymore. Everything's all digital. So they banned those old radio stations. Radio stations are not allowed to use that. They have to use digital. But analog worked fine. Analog worked fine if you were in broadcasting range. If they want to pick it up on, give people choice. Again, this idea that, we can only have one official media. No. I like the idea of open debate, open forum. Let the flames fly. Let the mud fling. Fine. But let people make their own choice. And if you're the good reporters that are non-biased, a guy I like is Ben Swan. This guy doesn't open his mouth unless there's a fact behind it. Like that is the way to do it. That is the way to do it. That is so professional. Love him or hate him. That is so professional. Here's the facts. Judge for yourself. That's not what we used to see that a bit on the CBC. Not at all anymore. Now it's all this progressivism and pro Hillary Clinton and stuff like that. It's been like that for years now, but it's just getting worse. It's getting so obvious by now that this political correctness is just over the top. But the thing is if it wasn't for the idea that she wants to go to war with Russia and China, I wouldn't care as much. I'd be like, okay, 4 years, you'll tolerate that for maybe 2, call an election over, that type of thing, and away you go. But the thing is that this. Yeah, like that's it. This election is going to be something. Again, all I can say is after Hillary Clinton wins, let the games begin. It's going to be. We're going to see things that are just unimaginably spectacular. I mean, can you point to me at any time in history, pick a country, I don't care, any country, that has had such a bizarre campaign going on? Like, I've never seen that. Like, it's so obvious. It's like, it's just so, wow, like, bizarro world. What is plan B? How the hell do you get away from all this madness? I just don't want to play anymore. You know, it's like, oh my God. But that's the problem with reality. You got to deal with it, right? So I'm looking at this and saying, okay, look at her policies, magnify it by 10, and it would probably be about 10% worse than that. I'm not pessimistic, I'm just realistic. This woman is, oh my God. People in the Middle East, I'll just say, man, the number they're going to do on you, that's just not fair. That's just not fair. That type of thing. As far as sovereignty for all countries, what sovereignty? 2018 one world currency, Rothschild currency, will come in on a Hillary Clinton watch if we can make it to 2018 without a war with Russia. That's, again, the war with Russia is almost a guaranteed thing, and I think the closer we get to a military coup. Yeah, because Hillary Clinton is way worse than Obama. Way worse than Obama in policies. Again, Obama is just a more extended version of George Bush. Look, you have George Bush, you have 5 presidents that are endorsing Hillary Clinton. George Bush Jr., Sr., Clinton, obviously, he has no choice. He'll probably vote for Trump. You know, that type of thing. Yeah, I hate this lady. You have, forget the other two, Carson and, what do you call it, Obama, of course. So anyway, there's all these presidents saying, oh no, but you have to understand, all these people are tied into the same criminality. They have no choice. So they have to come out. So, yeah, again, it's not, nobody's, the mainstream isn't in Hillary Clinton's favor because she's a good person. If you look into this person, you realize that, oh, she's going to take down a lot of people if they can restore the rule of law. But the time is short. They got less than 50 days to put this woman in jail. And if they can put her in jail, they'll kill her. And then cancel the election that way. If they think it's going to be a landslide win for Donald Trump, they will definitely, cancel the election. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. So anyway, rate, subscribe, share, comment, like, be true to yourself, be true to others, always do the right thing, and have yourselves a great day. Hey, hi, and welcome. Hey, Goof. My girl. Okay, she blinked. She's still alive. Okay, good. Anyway, girl, gotta come pet my dog before we get into this. Gotta feed my cat. My poor cat's only 20-some-odd pounds. Look at the mess he makes, eh? Oh my God, the other cat barely eats it. Like, that's probably getting like 2 or 3 days old. And then my dog. Gotta pet the dog. Eh? Poor girl. Took her to the vet yesterday. She wasn't very happy about that. She had to get scratch medicine, that type of thing. We'll get in the video to say. Here's Gazoo. Got to say good morning to Gazoo. Careful, you're going to go through the deck. You need to lose some weight. What's up, Gazoo? Come say hi. Say hi. Now he's like, look at my butt. He does that to the camera all the time. He's like, oh, he shows his butt to the camera. I guess he likes his butt. He likes big butts. I like my big butt. And I can't deny it. Yeah. Yeah, all 20-some-odd pounds of him. We haven't weighed him in a while. He's actually lost a bit of weight, believe it or not. Wow. So we say. Anyway. All right, so another crisp morning out there. Let's just jump into it. The debates, the presidential debates. Okay. I didn't watch them. I couldn't watch them. I tried to, but every time I caught in on that, like the halftime with Wolfie Blitzer and, what you call him, CIA boy and all them. Oh, Hillary won. That's all I heard. And then, of course, I turned on the CBC this morning. According to the mainstream media, objectively, everybody unanimously agrees in the mainstream media that Hillary won, which I don't know because I haven't watched the debate. But it doesn't matter. This kind of goes back to what I'm saying. She's going to win the election. Although the speculation or the thing is that Trump was tweeted about something like 60-some-odd percent to Hillary's 61%, and 39% was tweets of Hillary after the debate. So it doesn't really say who won or lost or whatever, so to speak. And how do you define won or lost? Whatever. Of course, both camps are going to say this side won, that side won, right? So I get that. Why I didn't watch it? I'll probably because watching it live with commercials and with all that stuff. You got to understand my internet here. Like, I mean, I'm very limited. I get 60 gigs a month. That's it. I go a gig over. It's $10 per gig. So, So, and I think I'm probably going to be already over this month anyway. Your $60 bill goes to $180 very quickly. So I got to be very careful if I go over the type of thing. So I don't mind paying the extra, someday maybe I'll get unlimited, and it's like I envy my sister. It's like she's got like streaming going on, everything. Or Roku runs off the internet. There, she like uses like 200, 300, 400 gigs a month, and it's like nothing. I mean, it's like whatever. But anyway, so I wait, and I'll just catch the edited, maybe not highlights, but the debate with basically just her and him. I can imagine it probably went the way I thought it was going to go. They probably, baby gloves for Hillary Clinton, try to make her look as good as possible. And, of course, they probably would have came at him with everything they got, right? And you have to understand, the mainstream media has already agreed to do this, to roast Donald Trump as much as possible. So, if you're anti-Trump, this seems like a good thing. But it's a cheat for even the anti-Trump people. This is a cheat for you. This is not good. This is not democracy. Now, technically, the United States is a republic, not a democracy. But it's basically very unfair because it cheats the people that are in the Hillary Clinton camp in the way of you're not getting to hear the other side of the candidate, which is proper. Like you're not getting a fair debate. And if the shoe were on the other foot, again, you would be. I think if anything, it will harden down whoever's hardline for Trump. They clearly going to see that the mainstream media is totally out to get him. It's not even paranoia at this point. Like, I have not heard one positive thing on the CBC about Trump today at all. Like, and it's like everybody. Oh no, Hillary won. It's like let's see what some of the viewers said about the like 3 people in a row pro Hillary. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't think so. Like that's. Yeah, it's pure manipulation. It's pure manipulation. And that should be the big debate right there, is how, this is why the CBC needs to be completely defunded with public money. If they're going to pull stuff like that, they're supposed to be fair and non-biased in their reporting. They're clearly in favor of Hillary Clinton. And although a lot of people might not understand, there is a Canadian connection too. The media system here in Canada is the American media system as well. It's the same system. It's, maybe 2 different owners, but they are so in line with other people at the top. Like the guy who owns the CBC basically and all the Canadian media basically is heavily invested in oil, et cetera, works with the Soros and Rothschilds and all that. Like it's the same, it's one system. So it doesn't matter where you go in the world, it's one system. That said, when you ask the man on the street on policy differences, not saying which candidate stands for what, 99% of the time people side with Donald Trump's policies. That's what I mean. Like, you got to look at the policies. That's the only thing you should be looking at. Now, till I watch the debate, I'm at the. I know I have to do it because that's what my channel, is a lot about. Is about geopolitics and stuff. And I have to do it to get the fair, to give you where you went wrong, where you went right, where she went wrong, where she went right, that type of thing. How it was spun. Yes, I got to do that. But there's also another side too. Here is that it really doesn't matter. Even if Donald Trump cleaned her clock in the debates, it won't matter. She's still going to win. Even if the majority of people hate Hillary Clinton, she's still going to win. Why? It's her turn. It's rigged. There is no election. She is not. How they're going to, they've been trying to steal the election for a long time, the momentum from Donald Trump, and they can't seem to do it. Did this do it? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, things can sway. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not saying Donald Trump is the best choice. It's the only choice Americans have. It's kind of like the Syrians in Syria. Their only choice for whenever elections come around is Assad. They don't. The alternative is ISIS. So there's really no choice. There is no choice. Here in Canada, we didn't really have that much of a choice either between Harper and Trudeau. Harper was definitely a better leader. And a much better leader than what Trudeau will ever be in a lot of ways. However, it was a rock and a hard place. If you voted for Trudeau, we're going to get this crazy leftism, progressivism coming in, which we're seeing coming in full force now, and extreme taxation and a collapsed economy. However, new boss, same as the old boss, both were, Trudeau's going full bore on the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership. Where's all the transparency that he was talking about, right? Harper was open about it. So yeah, we're going to do the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership. It was, a feather in the cap of the 40-some-odd trade deals that we did. I'm not against trade deals, and Harper holds the records for trade deals around the world in such a short amount of time. I mean, he won Statesman of the Year just because the man all he did was business, I'm sure he set himself up well for now, and again, there's a lot of stuff I objected with that. But at least they were kind of like, well, this is what we're doing, and here's our plan, and they follow through on it. With the Liberals right now, there's no plan. They really haven't done anything other than bring in a ridiculous amount of people to put on welfare. Other than that, they haven't really done anything. They haven't done anything to create. They haven't created a single job yet.